going on, you guys? It's your boy Patrick, aka Addicted to Combat, back for a very brief betting result recap for UFC 280, Oliveira versus Makhachev, which took place yesterday morning and afternoon, and it was a very fun 12-fight card. I think the prelims were entertaining in each of their own ways just because there were some big favorites that ended up not looking like huge favorites, and the main card was full of unexpected results, action, and fight of the night candidates. So betting result-wise, my picks went 8-4, but that sounds a lot better than the minus 4.77 units of profit that I ended up with on the night. I think it could have been a lot worse. I was a little bit light on the betting for this card, more than you would expect for a big star-studded name value pay-per-view. But I went 1-3 on the money line picks, 0-3 on the props, and the one parlay I had did cash, luckily. Going over some of them, Volkan Ozdemir, I had a plus 145. 1 unit on him as an underdog, and I thought I would get the first 70-second version of Volkan Ozdemir, winning all of the striking exchanges in the feet, keeping his back off of the cage, and staying in the center of the octagon. He had Nikita Krylov in all sorts of trouble early, could not maintain that pace, ended up being on the defense for the rest of the fight from the grappling threat, and actually losing all of the striking exchanges as well, so that fell flat, although it looked like it was going my way early. I did have Kyle Barallo at 3 units, the biggest moneyline bet of the night at minus 200. Luckily, that cashed, but even that one is an example of where he probably should have dominated the grappling a bit more. Probably should have been a more potent finisher in this fight. I did lose that 0.25 units on his submission prop at plus 550, and he had so many opportunities to try to get that done, but he even spent a round on his back underneath Makhmudmuradov. So a very close fight, closer than it should have been for Barallo. Although he did come through, I did have on the money lines Mateusz Gamrot to defeat Beneil Dariush. This is a bad call on my spot for the price. I think it was the right pick to make with the information I had. I did sort of overrate Gamrot's ability, I think, to get this fight into his arena and get it to the ground. And I underrated Beneil Dariush's, his striking accuracy and just overall, takedown defense and offense in this fight. So underrated one guy, overrated the other, and was on the wrong side of that bet. But at minus 190, maybe there was not a lot of extra value on that in hindsight, but I did think he was going to win. TJ Dillashaw as another underdog at plus 150. 1 unit on that, and then that was just a complete disaster from the get-go, right? He had that shoulder injury that you just knew early on that the fight was not going to last, and it was not going to go TJ's way. So congrats to Aljamain Sterling on that one. Overall, earlier on I had the Muhammad Mokaev and Abubakar Nurmagomedov parlay for minus 137 combined odds. But I only had 1 unit invested in that. It was supposed to have Magomed Mustafayev on there as well, but that fight got canceled. So Mokaev made it a very close fight. Honestly, luckily he got that round 3 submission. Nurmagomedov pretty much dominated that fight, pillar to post, so that was a spot I probably just should have been more confident to just bet on its own and bet a little bit more on the money line there. The props, again, on the prelims, Armen Petrosyan versus AJ Dobson. I did go 2 units deep on this to go, not see the scorecards, to go under 2.5 at minus 170, which I thought was a decent price at this fight because I thought it was going to be a lot more violent. But AJ Dobson really just did not throw it all. He didn't go for a lot of takedowns either until the ends of the rounds when his coaches were yelling at him. I thought both of those things would lead to a finish in this fight. Petrosyan and Dobson are both very dangerous, and they stayed at striking range like I thought for most of the fight, but just neither one able to, get any big moments off since Dobson was so hesitant in that fight. The one that hurt especially was getting Bilal Muhammad correct as a pick, betting his decision line for 0.75 units at plus 195. And then he goes in there and gets his second TKO stoppage in his entire UFC career. Only his second out of 17 fights. The last one was his second UFC fight back in 2016. So for Bilal Muhammad, I picked him as an underdog. I thought if he won the fight, just due to his trend, and 11 of his decision wins out of 12 wins, going to the scorecards, what are you going to do with that one? It just sucks that he had to get it done by strikes just for betting's sake. As a fan, it was cool to see him get a finish, but I went over the Barallo sub that lost, and the final 0.1 unit was just a flyer on the main event for both fighters, Oliveira and Makhachev, to get that round 1, knock down and go back and forth, although it was a pretty frantic paced fight, and the knockdown did eventually come by way of Islam Makhachev, the new champion. So moving on to the next fight card, which is Arnold Allen taking on Calvin Kattar. There's a few fights in this one. I think another 12-fight card currently. I've been working on this one since last week, so I'll have that betting breakdown out tomorrow, the live stream on Wednesday night, and we'll continue business as usual moving into another fight night card. I've been tending to do a lot better on those fight night cards than I have on the big pay-per-views too, so I got to fix that, but at least we do have a sketchy fight night card coming up, so hopefully get back on the winning track. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. I am partnered with BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook, so if you need to re-up your bankroll after losing on UFC 280 the way I need to, or if you want to keep the fun times rolling and get yourself another sportsbook, another reputable sportsbook with competitive lines on all sports, go in the description. There is a link for my subscribers to get a 125% deposit bonus on the sportsbook through BetUS, so go and check that out if you need additional lines. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. I will talk to you guys very soon for the next UFC Vegas card.